Okay, welcome to the Basic Computer Repair and Networking Unit number 4, Physical and Digital Security Presentation Lecture. Please make sure that you have the note guide that goes along with Unit number 4 so that you can take notes as we go through the unit's content. When it comes to security, one of probably the first aspects of security that might pop into any of our heads is authentication. Authentication is the process of verifying the identity of the user. This is done in many ways. Passwords are the most commonly used form of authentication. Best passwords are complex and composed of a mixture of letters, both uppercase and lowercase, numbers, as well as special symbols. Letters can be replaced by symbols such as the $sign instead of the letter S. There are other aspects of password creation that would secure the identity of the individual wishing to log into the PC. And I'm sure that all of you have had experience with creating passwords as well as creating secure passwords. Now you can protect your password. There are some suggestions for doing so. Obviously, never let anyone watch you enter your password. Never reveal your password to anyone or transmit a password in an email. Once it is text and it is in cyberspace, it's available for anybody to retrieve. Never reveal your password to a supervisor or a system administrator. And then finally, never write down your password, which is tough because sometimes we want to write things down so that we remember them. However, it can also be a security flaw. Now, when it comes to system configuration passwords, the power on password is a type of BIOS/UEFI password used to help prevent booting from external devices, such as flash drives or external drives. So myself, when I turn on my laptop here, I cannot use a boot system structure that is on a flash drive by plugging it into my district laptop and try and run it. The hard disk drive, or HDD, is used to prevent unauthorized access to data stored on that hard drive. Screensaver passwords. So when your computer goes into sleep or hibernate mode and the screensaver comes up, normally you are required to log back on with username and or password in order to get back into the computer. The exact amount of time required to force a user to log on screen varies and can be set by the user in the settings. Multi-factor authentication is a combination of two or more authentication techniques, a more secure option, which are divided into three categories. Maybe it's something you know, a password or a PIN, something you have, a smart card or a key fob, or something you are, which might be a biometric identifier such as a fingerprint. Biometrics is the use of physical attribute for authentication and is becoming more and more common with some of these devices, especially mobile devices. User account is most often used to achieve authentication. The user account created and stored on a computer is the local user account. User account created for a network is a domain user account or network user account. So the difference between those two different types of user accounts. Permission or rights applies to a user's ability to access an object such as a file, and a privilege applies the user's ability to make changes in computer configuration or software programs. So even once a user is logged onto a PC through a local user account or a network account, there may be restrictions as to what the user has access to and modifications that can be made by that user on that machine. Now, when it comes to being able to set safety features yourself as the user, in some operating systems such as Windows, this particular picture I believe is Windows 7, you can go into your computer settings and you can find the user accounts and family safety, and you can set up personal settings there in order to make your PC as secure as you want it to be. Now, user security education is one of the best methods of securing computers and the data that is on them. Never assume that a user understands security concepts, which could lead to having an unsecure device. Users need to understand how to create a complex password and why. Obviously, to make it more difficult for a hacker to be able to hack into your account using your password. And companies should conduct security education. in order to make sure that all employees understand how to safely and securely use machines to avoid the possibility of some type of a breach. Now, when it comes to malicious software, also known as malware, is written for the express purpose of modifying a computer's configuration or causing damage to the computer system. The infection arrives usually in the source of a flash drive, CD, email, or network connection. And it will also include a virus signature, which is a combination of characteristics that describe a particular virus and is how anti-malware software catches viruses on the computer. So not only are there malicious software such as malware that can come in and infect your machine, there are also ways to protect your machine from that type of software. Other threats may be a worm, Trojan horse, macroviruses, or MBR viruses. A worm is a destructive program that contaminates files. Infected a computer spreads to other computers without prompting the user. The Trojan horse, which is actually named after the Greek mythology, the Odyssey, class of virus that appears as a gift. A macrovirus, which is created using a macro programming language and is attached to documents that use that language. And the MBR virus, or master boot record, attacks the master boot record of the particular hard drive. Now, when it comes to how malicious software can spread, the origin of the worm might be one PC. Now, from that one PC, all of a sudden it can infect 5 more PCs, then up to 25 more PCs, 125 PCs. So the worm can spread very rapidly once it is activated on one PC. So you need to be very cautious and very cognizant of what you are opening in terms of email and files on your machine. A logic bomb, backdoor virus, password virus, and stealth virus, these are also threats. A logic bomb is a destructive program that is slipped into an application, and it is dormant until some particular event takes place. The user does not know what that event is and could indirectly trigger it. A backdoor virus is designed to go undetected and leave a backdoor in the security system of the computer network so that it can remove itself from the computer without being detected. A password virus is designed to breach security and steal passwords. And then finally, a stealth virus hides from normal detection by incorporating itself into part of a known program for the computer to camouflage itself. A polymorphic virus changes as it evolves, hard ones to find. A hoax is not a virus, but a false message spread about a real or unreal virus. A rootkit consists of a collection of software programs that installs on a computer and allows an intruder to take administrative control. A botnet is a collection of infected computers that are controlled by a source computer with the intent of infecting other computers. And grayware is a collection of malware that is not regarded as very dangerous, but can be a nuisance. Spam, we see these via email and even now via text message on our cell phones most likely. Unsolicited junk email or electronic newsletters. A keylogger, which is malware that after being installed on a computer keeps track of all the keys that are pressed by the user. Adware, which is designed to support advertisements such as pop-ups and gather information about the user. And also spyware, which is a little bit different from adware but similar, designed to track a user's habits such as browsing habits. Data miners, browser hijackers, dialers, and phishing. Also threats. Data miners gather information about a user's web browsing habits. This information is used for marketing purposes. A browser hijacker changes the browser configuration. A dialer is a program that automatically disables a telephone modem that is dialing a number and automatically switches it to another number. And then finally, phishing, which is one that we've probably come in contact with, an email or impersonate. Let me say that again. An email to impersonate a legitimate company, fooling the user to believe the source is trusted. Farming and cookies. Farming is a deceptive practice based on poisoning a domain name service or DNS server with an incorrect IP address for a website, and a cookie, a small text file used to send information about a user to a server. Now, when it comes to preventing the possibility of an attack from some type of malicious software, one of the things that we can do is we can protect ourselves against malware, which is the most common source of infection and threats on computers. Always use a firewall to protect your computer while accessing the internet. A lot of these are included with your operating system. Install an anti-malware program to combat malware. Never open unsolicited email or email attachments. Never reveal your password to anyone or transmit a password in an email. And never respond to any email that requests your password, account numbers, social security number, etc., etc. You also do not want to accept file attachments on emails from unknown sources. If you get an email from someone you don't even understand or don't know why you're being sent it, do not open any of the attachments. Never load a file from media that you have not checked first with an up-to-date anti-malware software. Before giving a file to anyone, check the storage media using an anti-malware program. Encrypt important files to secure the data inside of them, and perform regular daily backup of important files in the case of an infection or a breach causing a PC to crash or data to be lost. When you want to remove malware, first you have to identify the virus, utilize necessary removal tools in order to do so, usually an antivirus, scan all media such as CDs and flash drives to ensure the removal of the virus and make sure that it is gone and out of the system. A firewall. A firewall is a hardware device or a software application that protects the computer from unauthorized access or malware delivered through a network or internet connection. Most operating systems have built-in firewalls. A port number so a port number is a range from 0 to 65,535 used by software that uses a network system to identify the application or service. And so the service is a software application that performs specific network functions such as assigning network addresses. So these are all aspects of ways of protecting the PC from a breach or an infection. And that firewall, not quite done it, one more slide. So to conclude the firewall here, there are two broad categories of default configurations when it comes to a firewall. There is a private network, which is a home or work network, and a public network, which the user has no control over the internet access being provided, such as a public Wi-Fi. And obviously, you have more control over being able to secure yourself on a private network than you do a public network. So be extra careful when you are operating your PCs or your other mobile devices on public networks, as you are not quite as secure. And that concludes the presentation lecture on unit number 4, being able to secure your devices. Please make sure that you have completed the notes for unit number 4. And if you haven't, please go back and revisit the slides so that you have the notes, and you can use your note guide then as a study tool for upcoming assessments. I will see you next time we meet in class.